Good morning, students. In our last class, we have seen about the various properties of triangles. Okay, and especially about isosceles triangle, and we have learned a theorem and the converse of that theorem. And using those theorems, we have started solving some problems, and we have completed that section. Today, we will learn some more properties or some more congruence relations. Let us see what is we are going to learn. Okay, as you can see here in section 7.5, we will see some more criteria for congruence of triangles. Okay, let me ask you, what are criteria which we had learned earlier? Do you remember? Okay, just think, what were those criteria? Okay, we have seen SAS congruence, then ASA congruence is it correct? As we have seen, some congruences are not applicable, whereas some are possible. Okay, all of you think. Okay, and when we proceed further, we can, as you can see now, here we are going to learn some more criteria for congruence of triangles. So far we have seen three criteria for the congruence of triangles. Now let us see, as theorem 7.4, we can see SSS congruence rule. As you can see, the S corresponds to the side. Let us see. If three sides of one triangle are equal to the three sides of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. Okay, I think it is so easy to do. See, suppose you are given a triangle and each side of the first triangle is equal to each side of the second triangle. Then we can say that these two triangles are congruent. Okay, that is what the SSS congruence rule states. Clear? Which means, especially when we are coming to solve some problems, sometimes if we want to show that two triangles are congruent, what we can do? We can check whether the sides of each triangle are equal. If they are equal, then we can say that those two triangles are congruent. Okay. So for your keep this SSS congruence rule in your mind, because we need it in solving problems. Okay. Now let us see one more congruence rule. Say it is theorem 7.5. It is being said as the theorem, no problem. You can say RHS congruence rule. Okay. This is a slight different from the other criteria for congruences. Okay. If in two right angles, see the main point here or the main difference here, two right angles, that is the main difference. Okay, the hypotenuse and one side of one triangle are equal to the hypotenuse and one side of the other triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. Okay, it is said that, say I will show you, I will draw a figure. So suppose we have two right triangles. Okay, here change the color. One is in blue color and the other one is in red color. Okay, this theorem states that if in two right triangles, the hypotenuse, see the hypotenuse and one side of one triangle, see, let it be any side, let it be base or it could be altitude, let it be any side, are equal to the hypotenuse and one side of the other triangle, then these two triangles are congruent. Okay, say sometimes the one thing is common for both these cases. The hypotenuse of both these right triangles should be equal. Okay, that is the first point. Now, the other side, one more side we need. It could be anything. It could be altitude or it could be base. That is according to our wish, no problem. Okay, means according to our wish, I mean according to the question, what it is given in the question. Okay, and if they are so, then we can say that these two right triangles are congruent. And see, the RHS stands for not just right hand side, it stands for right angle hypotenuse side. And actually, you can see that it is SIS congruence, kind of a peculiar case of SIS congruence. Okay, because see here, we know that in a right triangle, one angle is 90 degrees. So if we are taking two right angles, there also one angle is 90 degrees. There is no confusion in that. Okay, and then we are all saying about the hypotenuse, the other two sides. So actually, this is a kind of SIS, a special case. Okay, so I hope that these two theorems are clear to you. That is SSS congruence and RHS congruence. Now we will use these congruences as well as the previously learned congruences to solve some problems. Okay, let us look at the example 7. AB is a line segment. See, this is our AB, is a line segment. You are given a figure also. P and Q are points on opposite sides of AB. P and Q are points on opposite sides of AB. And what is the peculiarity of those 2 points? Such that each of them, means each, that is P as well as Q, is equidistant from the point A and B, which means the distance of the point P from the point A is equal to the distance of the point P from the point B. In other words, we can write, what we can write? AP is equal to, not AD, AP is equal to BP. Okay. Similarly, can we write AQ is equal to BQ? Okay. From this figure, we should be able to point out such things. Okay. First of all, you could write this by pencil. Okay, in your paper. Then read the rest of the question. Now, what we are asked? We are asked that we want to show that the line PQ is the perpendicular. See, the line joining P and Q is the perpendicular bisector of AB. See, actually, you are asked 2 things. One is perpendicular. We want to show that this is perpendicular. That is one point. Now, the next one is bisector. Means it divides the line segment AB equally. We want to show both of them. Okay? Clear? So, let us use the given information to show that the line PQ is perpendicular bisector of AB. In order to do that, let us see. We are given that PA is equal to PB or AP is equal, that's according to us, and QA is equal to QB. And we want to show that PQ perpendicular to AB and PQ bisects AB. Okay. Now, let PQ intersect. PQ intersect AB at C. The intersection point is being called as C. Okay. Now, we are considering 2 triangles. Which are those triangles? Triangle PAQ and triangle PBQ. Triangle PAQ and triangle PBQ. Okay, first of all, let us think. What is our aim? We want to prove that PQ is perpendicular to AB. That is one thing. Now, the next thing is PQ bisects AB. In order to prove that PQ bisects AB, we only need to show that AC is equal to BC. The distance between AC and BC are equal. And see here we have to consider 2 sides. What are they? One is AC and the other one is BC. Okay. What about the next one? It is PQ. Okay. And other one is AB. Okay, so what are those triangles? Okay, comprising these all these sides. That is our aim. That is why we are considering specifically triangle PAQ, that is PAQ and PVQ. Okay, so let us see. In these triangles, we want to prove that these two triangles are congruent. Can you think how they are congruent? Okay, first of all, first point I can give it to you, which is already given to you as AP is equal to BP. Okay, AP is equal to BP. It is given to you. Now anything? Okay, as you can see from the question itself, you are given that QA is equal to QB or AQ is equal to BQ. It is given to us. Now we want to consider, or we want to show that one more side. See, as you can see, the side PQ is equal to PQ. It is common. So by using SSS congruence rule, we can say that triangle PAQ is congruent to triangle PBQ. So these two triangles are congruent. So by using CPCT, their corresponding sides should also be equal and angles. So here we are taking or considering specifically angle APQ is equal to angle BPQ. Angle APQ, that is here. Angle APQ is equal to angle, which angle? Angle BPQ. That is, we have showed that these two angles are equal. Okay, just keep this in mind. You will get the answers or why we have taken these two angles. Okay, just wait. We will get the, I will show you why we have chosen specifically these angles. Okay. Now see, now let us consider next two triangles. Triangle PAC, that is these small triangles. Triangle PAC and triangle PBC. Now, you know why we have chosen that? Because we want to prove that our aim, as I have told you, our aim is to show that AC is equal to BC and PQ perpendicular to AB. Such things is our aim. That's why we have chosen specifically first triangle PAQ and next triangle PBQ. Now we are choosing triangle PAC and a triangle PBC. And how we can prove that these two triangles are congruent? As you can see, in the first case, it is given to you AP is equal to BP, given. Now, what about the angle which we have chosen here? I told you, see the answer, why sir we have chosen this? It is because to prove that these two triangles are congruent. That is it. See, AP is equal to BP. Now, angle APC is equal to angle BPQ, angle BPC. As we have seen, here we have proved that APQ is equal to BPQ, but it is same as APC is equal to angle BPC. Fine. So we have proved these two angles are equal. Now, as you can see, the side PC is common. So two sides and one angle are equal. So by using SIS rule, we can see that triangle PAC is congruent to triangle PBC. Okay. Now, what we can say? AC is equal to BC. Okay. Clear? By using CPCT. Clear? As I have told you earlier, see, if we want to prove that PQ bisects AB, one thing is AC is equal to BC. So we have already proved it. AC is equal to BC and we are calling it as equation 1. Now we want to show that this angle PCB or angle PCA is equal to 90 degree. Okay. Then only we can say that the line joining P and Q is bisecting perpendicularly the line segment A. We have showed actually the bisection is complete. That part is complete. Now the next part is we want to show that if they are perpendicular. Let us see how we are proving. See, angle ACP is equal to angle BCP. Angle ACP is equal to angle BCP by using our CPCT. Now, angle ACP plus angle BCP is equal to 180. We know that by our linear pair, sum of two angles is of a linear pair is 180 degree. Now, as we have seen here, Angle ACP is equal to angle BCP. Instead of angle BCP, I am writing as angle ACP. So it is equal to 2 times angle ACP is equal to 180 degree and angle ACP is equal to 90 degree. So from the equations 1 and equations 2, you can say that PQ is a perpendicular bisector of AP. Okay, so we have proved the question, but without showing the congruence of triangle PAQ and PBQ. That is, see here, triangle PAQ and triangle PBQ. We can't show that these two angles are equal. And without showing these two angles are congruent, we can't prove that PAC is congruent to triangle PBC. Okay, that's why we have done like this. Okay, which means as a result, what it is saying it is, it says these results give us SSA rule, which is not always valid or true for congruence of rule. Also, the angle is not included between the equal pair of sides. Fine, we have told that SAS is valid always, but ASA or SSA may not be valid. It is actually an example for that. Okay. Now, let us go to our next example. It is actually kind of similar question. P is a point which is equidistant from two lines L and M intersecting at point A. See the figure 7.38. Okay, see this figure as you can see. Okay, now show that the line AP bisects the angle between them. Okay, what you are given that? You are given that P, the point P, is equidistant from the lines, two lines L and M. And they are intersecting, these two lines, L and M are intersecting at the point A. Now we want to show that the line AP, okay, it bisects the angle formed between those two intersections, that is of L and M. And again, let me ask you how you can show that, how we can prove that AP bisects the angle between them. We just want to show that angle BAP, okay, is equal to angle CAP. Once we have once we show that these two angles are equal, we have solved. So specifically, we should consider which all triangles thing. Okay, that's how actually we are choosing. I should choose which triangles. Let us see. We are given that the lines L and M intersect each other at A. Okay, you are given. Now we are supposing that, or by the figure, you can see that PB is perpendicular to L. See, PB is perpendicular to L. You can see by looking at the figure, you can see that see by looking the figure, you can see that PB is perpendicular to line L. Similarly, PC is perpendicular to line M. Fine. Now you are given that PB is equal to PC. PB is equal to PC. Okay, since P is equidistant, so we can say that PB is equal to PC. Now what we want to show? We want to show that angle PAB is equal to angle PAC. That is our aim. Okay, so let us see how we can prove that. So which all triangles we should consider? We are considering triangle PAB and triangle PAC. Fine. Now our aim is to prove that these two triangles are congruent. How you can prove? Actually, you can prove. See, think PB is equal to PC. It is given. And one more thing is given. Angle PBA is equal to angle PCA, which is equal to 90 degree. These two things are given. Now only the remaining part PA is common, which means by using RHS congruence rule, which is right hand hypotenuse side, right angle hypotenuse side, we can see that triangle PAB is congruent to triangle PAC. As a result, CPCT, by using CPCT, we can say that angle PAB is equal to angle PAC. Okay, so I think this is clear to you. These two examples, only two examples are from this section, and as by these two questions, these two examples, this section completes, and you can do exercise 7.3 as your homework. Okay, only 5 questions are there. So by solving, when we are solving each question, I am telling you how we are or why we are choosing specific triangles. Okay, and what is our aim? All these things I have told you. So keep all the things in your mind and solve the questions. And if you have doubts regarding solving these questions or these exercise questions, you can ask me as well. Fine. Now we are going to the last section of this chapter, section 7.6, inequalities in a triangle. Okay. So now we have seen about the equality of triangles. But what about sometimes, see, as you can see in the figure 7.1, we can see that we should say AB is greater than CD. Or in other words, sometimes we should be saying angle A is greater than angle B. Okay, sometimes we have to mention the sides or angles like this. So how we are, see, consider this one theorem is given. If two sides of a triangle are unequal, say if two sides of a triangle are not equal, of course, it means one side is greater and the other side is smaller. The angle opposite to the longer side is larger, which means I will show you. See, we are considering a triangle with two unequal sides. Okay, suppose the angle opposite to the longer side. Okay, see here, I think this looks almost same, so I will just avoid that. Okay, now you can see that all the three sides are, see here I am considering specifically these two sides. Okay, now as you can see, these two sides are not equal. Now the angle opposite to the longer side, which is the longer side? Here this is the longer side. Now the angle opposite to the longer side means this angle. What does this theorem states? It states that if two sides of a triangle are unequal, the angle opposite to the longer side is larger. Okay, when we compare it with the other two sides. Okay, that is what this theorem states. Similarly, actually this is the converse of theorem 7.6. In the same manner, we can see that in any triangle, the side opposite to the larger side is larger angle is longer. In the same manner, the side which is opposite to the larger angle is also longer. This is the converse of theorem 7.6. Okay. Now theorem 6.8. This is this theorem you have learned in your small classes. The sum of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the third side. During the construction of triangles, you might have found out that some specific measurements using some specific measurements, we cannot draw or construct a triangle. Why is it so? Because the sum of two sides of a triangle should be greater than the third side. You can check by yourself if you have any doubt. Okay. Then only we can see that these two triangles are intersecting. I will just show you actually how we are drawing a triangle. We will be, suppose we are given measurements. See, consider it as a, see, let us see. Okay, we are given a length, and then we are given another length. Suppose it is 6 centimeter, and actually how we are drawing it, we are making an arc. Okay, having a specific length. Now, another measurement is also given. Now, again, we will make an arc using that measurement. Now, what if the sum of any two sides is not greater? Then what happens? These two arcs will not intersect. If they are not intersecting, how we can join those two lines? No. So we won't be able to form a triangle. Okay, you can check it actually. Okay, but just these theorems, keep these theorems in your mind. There is no proof needed, but we can use this theorem to show some examples. See, you can let us consider our next example 9. D is a point on side BC of triangle ABC such that AD is equal to AC. We want to show that AB is greater than AD. Okay. Consider triangle ABC. The point D is on the side BC such that AD is equal to AC. Okay. Now we want to prove that the length of the side AB is greater than the length AD. By looking at the figure, you can easily see that AB is greater than AD. But we can't write it is by looking at the figure, it is greater. So it is right. No, we want a written proof. So let us see how we can prove. Consider triangle DAC. Okay. Now AD is equal to AC. It is given to us. So what we can say about this triangle? Can you see any peculiarity for this triangle? We can see that this triangle is isosceles. Now, angle ADC is equal to angle ACD. So since these sides are equal, the corresponding angles opposite to them are also equal. Okay. So now what we can say? Angle ADC is an angle ADC is an exterior angle of triangle ABD. Okay, I have told you that angle ADC is an exterior angle of triangle ABD. Clear? Fine. Which means angle ADC is greater than, that is angle ADC is greater than angle ABD. Can you say why we have written like that? We have learned earlier sum of interior opposite angles. That is, I will show you interior opposite angles. What are the interior opposite angles? See, these two angles. Sum of these two angles will give you angle ADC. We have seen as a theorem earlier. So we can write angle ABD plus angle BAD. Angle BAD will be equal to angle ADC. Okay, so I think this is clear. This is our result. Now, from this result, it is clear that angle ADC will be greater than angle ABD. Okay, so that's why we have written as angle ADC is greater than angle ABD. Now, actually, we have seen that angle ADC is equal to angle ACD. So instead of angle ADC, we can write angle ACD is greater than angle ABD. Now, or what we can write? We can write that angle ACB is greater than angle ABC. Okay? Angle ABC, angle ACB is greater than angle ABC. Now, what about our previous theorems? Therefore, the side AB, what is the side opposite to angle ACB? Look, consider the side which is opposite to the angle ACB. What is the side opposite to angle ACB in the triangle ABC? We can see that it is the side AB. So we can write AB is greater than. What is the side opposite to angle ABC? ABC. That is the side AC. So clearly we can say that AB is greater than AC. Fine. So we can say that side opposite to larger angle is ABC, and as a result, we can write clearly AB is greater than AD. And how we are saying AB is greater than AD? Because AC is equal to AD, that is given to us. Okay, thus we have proved that AB is greater than AD. Clear? So in this last section, we have seen only one example, and in this section, we have seen 3 theorems. Okay, and this section is over. You can do the exercise 7.4 as your homework. Only 6 questions are given, and by this, this chapter has finished. So all of you should once again go through the all classes which I have uploaded in the YouTube, and see if you have any doubts. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, and do the exercises which I have given you homework daily. Okay, because it will help you to understand more. Okay, so thank you all.